Just got back from the hospital, which is why I'm still wearing my jacket. And I just came back from the hospital for my treatment. And today is going to kind of be a two-in-one video simply because both stories are kind of like relatively short, so it just made more sense to combine them. Plus, they're kind of related, well, related chronologically, not necessarily related as stories. So, first story is I threw up in public again! Yay! So, on my way to the hospital, I was walking, and the thing is, like, I ate breakfast before leaving. And even though I ate breakfast, I was still feeling kind of like lightheaded and weak. And I'm like, okay, that's not a good sign. But, I need to go to the hospital, so let's go. So, get dressed, head off. And as I get to the intersection to cross, and I wait, and I'm like, you know what? There's a familiar feeling creeping up. So, barely managed to make it across the street before, well, you probably guess what happened. I threw up. Luckily, there was no one like right around me, aside from, cars, and people in cars don't usually pay much attention to what's around them aside from what's on the road. And there weren't many pedestrians. In fact, there was just one guy that walked past when I was throwing up. So, technically in public, but since there's only one person who saw me, it's not a big deal. Not that throwing up in public is a big deal to me at this point, like I really don't care. But still, it's kind of like borderline public, like, does it really count as throwing up in public if there's just one person who sees me? Anyway, guy's really nice. He stopped. He's like, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need help?" I'm like, I'm not okay, but I will be. Thank you for asking. And then, luckily for me, he offered me Kleenex, so I would be able to get clean after I was done, because that's the disadvantage of having a beard. My wife loves it, but when you throw up, it really, really, really sucks because it gets stuck everywhere. And if you're out in public, and I did bring it back. A couple people in one of the last videos suggested, hey, you should carry a Ziploc bag with you. That way if you throw up, it's easy, you can seal it up if you can't throw it out right away. It's just the best option available. Plus, it's easy to fit in your pocket. So today, for the first time, started carrying one of those around. What I didn't think about was Kleenexes. So I'm very, very glad that guy came along and gave me Kleenex. So once I was done, I could get cleaned up. Now, I didn't throw up that much. It just sucks, like, being outside in the cold, throwing up. I mean, throwing up always sucks, but especially when you're outside and you're like out of breath and feeling kind of like lightheaded, and there's like people, well, not necessarily people all around you, but it's like you're in public, Like, no one really enjoys doing gross stuff like throwing up in public. So, not necessarily the most pleasant experience, but, it is what it is. Plus, once I was done, as it normally happens, I felt relatively better. And I say relatively simply because, that sensation of, oh crap, I might throw up went away, but I was still kind of weak. So anyway, I made it to the hospital, everything was fine, survived that ordeal. And the second story is when I was getting my treatment, I was texting with my wife, and at some point she mentioned something that got me thinking. And what she said was, sometimes I wish I would wake up and realize this was all a dream. And I completely understand where she comes from. To be honest, that would be amazing. But it kind of got me thinking, like, what if that's what death is like? Because, everyone has different beliefs or theories when it comes to death and what happens after death. But we can never really know for certain until it happens. So no matter what, it ends up being a surprise. But it's like, what if that's kind of how it works? You die, and then it's like you wake up, and it's like, oh, okay, this is the real world. What I thought was the real world, what I thought was my life, was just a dream. It was an experience that I had. And now that I woke up from that, all that I experienced, whether it was good or whether it was bad, is now over. And I don't know. There's just something nice about that. Like, I have no idea. Like I said, there's no way of knowing until you die. So it's like, I'm not going to spend much time pondering that because, well, I have a lot of things to ponder at the moment. I don't need one more. But it's just, I don't know, it was a nice way to look at it because people had different theories. It's like, oh, you die and then nothing. Or you die and you get reincarnated, but you're not really aware of it because it's like the moment you die, you're reincarnated immediately. Some people are like, oh, there's, hell and heaven. There's so many different beliefs. But to me, it's like, well, I'm going to find out when I die anyway. So why worry about it? Why think about it, really? But every once in a while, it's fun to just kind of ponder those types of things. And I'm like, you know what? If this is how it works and it kind of feels like when you die, you just kind of like wake up from a dream, I'm like, yeah, that would be nice. And that also got me thinking, like, what if I'm being an idiot? Because it's like, okay, if you're having a good dream, awesome. Enjoy the dream for as long as you can. And then when you wake up, it's over. But if you're having a bad dream and, this period of my life that I'm going through would be considered a bad dream, it's like, am I just an idiot trying to remain in the dream longer when I'm suffering? But then on the other side, it's like, well, I don't know if that's how it works. So it would be dumb of me to want to end things or try to end things without really knowing for certain what happens after. Plus, there's always the fact that the period I'm going through, yes, is difficult, but maybe it's going to get better. Maybe the bad dream is going to turn into a good dream. So it's like, do I really want to abandon that? Plus, at the end of the day, I know I'd never be able to commit suicide. It's just not the type of person I am. So it's like, it's not really an option anyway. But anyway, yeah, it was kind of fun to ponder that, and I never really thought of it that way. Like, I thought of the, possibility of like, it's kind of like a computer game, a video simulation, if you will. And you get to experience it. And then when you die, it's like, oh, well, you just kind of like stop playing the video game, And, the dream, the waking up from a dream approach is kind of similar to that. Slightly different. I don't know. There was something about it that I kind of liked. Seemed comforting somehow. But anyway, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't change anything. I just thought it was, I don't know, something fun. So I thought I'd share it. Plus, because it wasn't such a long story, I'm like, you know what? Let's combine it with another story of throwing up in public for the second time. So anyway, those have been my updates for the day. If you want to support me, to support this channel, you can do so via the GoFundMe link in the description of the channel and the description of this video. If you want to help me share this message to more people to hopefully inspire and motivate other people, let me know either in the comments or by going to my author website and contacting me directly through that. And I just want to say once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this family. I'm incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for being here, and I will talk to you in the next video.